During the 1940s, relations between Mexicans and Anglos in the American Southwest were strained. Mexican Americans in Texas, for example, had their land taken away from them after Texas was annexed by the U.S. in 1847 and have faced discrimination ever since. To make matters worse, after the formation of the Border Patrol in 1924, Mexicans began to be profiled as smugglers and illegal immigrants. One example of this prejudice was recounted by acclaimed historian Kelly Lytle Hernandez in her book Migra, A History of the U.S. Border Patrol. On June 28, 1936, in the small border town of Esperanza, Texas, a Mexican-American 19-year-old named Jose Hernandez left his home to go get a Coke at the local store. Around the same time, two U.S. Border Patrol officers decided to take a break from tracking an undocumented immigrant who had crossed the Rio Grande the night before, and subsequently arrived at the store right before Jose. Before leaving the store, one of the officers decided to question Jose about his citizenship status, and though Jose provided his American birth certificate certifying that he was a citizen, the officer straight up called him a liar and matched Jose's footprints to tracks that the officers found right outside the Rio Grande, proclaiming him an illegal immigrant. Though Kelly Hernandez never elaborated on what happened to Jose after his incident with the patrol, how long it took to get back to his very worried family, it is clear, almost, that there were racial tensions between the Mexicans and Anglos, with Border Patrol officers conflicting, in Hernandez's words, Mexicans have illegality and illegality with Mexicanos. However, what was the rest of the country thinking as all this injustice was occurring? How did they react when hearing about profiling discrimination on their southern border? Did they know about it at all? Did they even care? At the time, most Americans did not have a clear image of the American Southwest, much of what they knew coming from Westerns. Because of the Western's presence in American culture, many people, when thinking of the Southwest, thought of movie stars chasing outlaws across the desert. This nostalgic outlook was epitomized by a 1937 New York Times article titled All Is Quiet, Almost, on the Mexican Border, where the author describes how things have settled down since the days of the Wild West. In fact, in the 30s era West, creaky old carts lug millions of dollars worth of silver bars through the streets without a single gun in sight, suggesting that there is no crime in what was considered to be a lawless land. Another claim that the author makes that there is no longer any hostility between Mexicans and Anglos, apparently a common feature in Westerns. In fact, they are now on good terms with each other, a claim that is bolstered by the supposedly common sight of Mexicans and Anglos greeting each other in a friendly manner in the streets. As for the Border Patrol, the article claimed that the primary goal of the U.S. Border Patrol was to stop smugglers, a statement that, while being technically true, failed to recognize the connection that many Anglos made between smuggling and Mexicans. In short, many New Yorkers are led to believe that the West is now a land of peace and quiet. In other words, a place that a person in New York did not need to worry about. This led many Americans in other parts of the country, including other than the border, to believe that there is no conflict nor injustice occurring on the border. Nothing to see here. This ignorance had several negative side effects. It allowed corporations to take advantage of already disadvantaged people in the form of low wages and wretched working conditions, for instance. Perhaps it is because of ignorance, or even because of apathy. It is clear that a faulty understanding of one's own country can enable terrible injustice to occur. Thus, one must conclude Americans must adopt an appreciation of history and make it their duty to understand every facet of America, to help prevent injustice from occurring.